introduce you to a legend. And for those who don't know it, you're going to get to know it. It's a very special story. But it's just two things I want to mention about him. I first met Roach, I guess, 60 years ago. And he was just got out of jail maybe a few years before that. And he put an organization together called Inner Voices. And with that, he's toured all over the world. He spoke every place. He's a leading expert for returning home citizens. He's got that organized. He's on the radio every Tuesday. You want to listen to him on WPFW radio. There's a program called Crossroads. All right? And when you see Roach, and when he speaks to you, and when he finishes speaking to you, he'll say, Merry Christmas. Now, you will wonder, what the hell is he talking about? It's June. What's he talking about? Merry Christmas. And unless you get to know it, that is a very special meeting to him. He was released, pardoned by Gerald Ford on Christmas Day. So that's why every day is a Merry Christmas to you. He'll tell you about it. Another thing, unless you really know him, you don't know his name is Rozier. Nobody knows that. You have to know him to know that. You got to know him. Yeah. But without further, because I don't want to take up any of his time, my legend speaker for Black History Month is Roach Brown.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas. Every day is Christmas, from the outhouse to the jailhouse to the crazy house to the White House is the road I've traveled in the last 55 years. I'm a graduate of UDC. That stands for the University Department of Corrections. I had trouble getting up here because I've been having, I don't know if you have the same problems I have. I walk into the room and forget why I went in there looking for my keys, and I got my keys in his hand. So I went to the doctor and he prescribed some ginkgo biloba, supposed to improve your memory. I took it for 2 weeks, and on the third week, I forgot where the hell I put it. I couldn't remember where I put my medicine. So I've been going through these kind of problems, and when I first got in trouble, the judge asked me, have you ever been here? Have you ever been before me before? I said, no, what time did you get up? Then he said, where do you work? I said, I do a little of this and a little of that. He said, where do you live? I said, oh, here and there. He said, take him out. So the judge, they took me out. And I said, wait a minute. When do I go home? Sooner or later. So the judge was just as slick as we were. But to get to my story, I was sentenced to life in prison back in the 60s. I was facing an electric chair, and the judge decided to give me life at 21 years old. And I went to this Lawton, and while in there, I got hurt, injured in a guards riot. I was paralyzed, and they put me in solitary confinement. And for 8 months, I couldn't move a muscle. I was like this for 8 months, and I used to do this all day to try to get some feeling back in my body. And when things start moving, then my fingers start moving, then I start moving. I said, I'm coming out of here. So they took me out and took me to the sane asylum. And I stayed 3 years in the sane asylum, taking all kinds of medicines, 2 shock treatments. My mother died, father died. And would you believe the best time in my life is when I had a bad situation. And I want to stop right here and say hello to a young lady I see on the screen named Sorry Holstein. She has the kind of heart that we are trying to get everybody else to have. When you give from your heart, not because somebody asked, but because you know they need it. And this lady came to our aid 2-3 times, and I take my hat off to her, Miss Sorry Holstein. But while I was in Lawton and I had that life, I wrote the words, Christmas in prison in solitary, in the dust. I got out of solitary and I took the poem and expanded it into a play called Christmas in Time. And we performed it for the inmate population, the Washington Post and everybody came into the prison. As a result of that, we were allowed out of prison to perform over 500 times. All over DC. We went to New York, to the Apollo, went to Senator Ed Brooke, took us to Boston, Massachusetts. We went all over America performing and returned to prison 500 times and didn't nobody escape. As a result of that, President Ford commuted my life sentence on Christmas Day. And to me, every day is Christmas. And before I leave, I like to say one thing. I like if everybody can use what we've been using. A day does not go by that I don't make somebody smile. I don't make somebody laugh. And I get cursed out in the process too, but I don't pay that no mind. Every day we tell somebody, Merry Christmas. In June, August, April, it don't make no difference. When I was in solitary, I was paralyzed, and now I can do this. I can move my arms. I can shake my head. I can move my leg. I am rich. And when I see somebody, I don't care how mad they are, hey, how you doing? Merry Christmas. Then it ain't Christmas, you damn fool. It is to me. And whether you see it or don't see it, it does not matter. When you go through the worst that you can go through, with pain and you can cry. I didn't know that you could cry dry tears. I cried for so long that there wasn't no more tears coming. And you just felt the pain or the burn on your face from dry tears. But it didn't stop us. We started a group called Inner Voices, and we got some of the prisoners together. We put the play on. And a lot of the guys, when I joined my group, because the word in prison was all actors were sissies or gays. And the guy didn't want to join our group because somebody would knock on his bed later that night. But it didn't matter. We put the play on. And as a result of that, I was able to get a presidential commendation. 16 other guys were able to get out of prison. We traveled all around the country. We had a contract with the Justice Department. We did the first restitution program in the city. I got a job at television station, Channel 5, while in prison, while serving life, and I met her. I came out of prison as working at Channel 5 with Maury Povich back in the 70s as a producer, and I go back to prison 2 nights a week. I'm serving life, and I'm producing a television show. And I saw her and her mother. I said, I got to have that woman there. That was in 1973. We've been together 49 years. Of course, she'd tell everybody she was 19 when we met, but I was 12. Yeah, so we've been together this long. So lately, we've been working in everything you can imagine. I worked as a special assistant to Marion Barry. We created an office called MORCA, the Mayor's Office of Returning Citizens. I was the first director, and I created that office in 1994. So I've been working all around the city doing anything and everything we can to stop the violence, to save lives, to get people off of drugs. And with the young lady here, Ebony Payne, what we've been doing is meeting every Wednesday with the Nation of Islam and 30 to 40 other organizations all over the city to see what we can do to stop the carjacking, to stop the killings, to stop the retail thefts. And we can do it. We know how. We have the experience. I got a presidential commendation for doing the same thing during the 70s and the 80s. And I thought I'll get out of this. But my city needs me. People are dying. And we have answers. We have a group of men who did 30, 40, 50 years in prison. And I picked up a guy who did 50 years. I haven't seen him since 1971. I went to pick him up. I said, why didn't you call me, man? You've been out 2-3 hours. He said, Roach, I walked, and I couldn't find a phone booth. So I put him in the car. I said, put the seatbelt on. He said, what's a seatbelt? He didn't know what a seatbelt was. So they gave him a $100 bill, and he hadn't seen money in 50 years. He hadn't touched a dollar in 50 years. Gave him a $100 bill. He went to the store, and the cashier said, we don't accept money. He didn't know what to do. If you don't take money, what you gonna take? So these are the guys we're working with, but these men are risking their lives to save our community, and we got answers. We know what can be done. I know what can be done. I've been doing this for 52 years, and I can't stop. I don't know how to stop. And we need folk like you and your resources to help us. We have the cavalry, sir. Everybody had seen a Western. When the Indians surround the fort, then you hear, do-do-do-do, the cavalry comes to give you relief and safety. We have a cavalry. Our cavalry is those men and women who did 30, 40, 50 years in prison. They can make a difference. Yeah, they were a part of the problem. They are part of the solution. So we got men, we call it, my wife and I, the elephant syndrome. The elephant syndrome. You've seen on the paper, on TV, where elephants are running amok, destroying entire villages in Africa and India. Why? They've taken their adults, their mothers and fathers, and removed their tusk. So these are orphan elephants, and they are destroying everything. So they went into the forest and brought 5 old bull elephants back. In less than a month or two, all the little young elephants stopped being adolescents. They got it right in line like they worked for Ringling Brothers. They used their tusk to hold somebody's tail in front of them. So these old elephants got these young elephants together. We've been trying to meet with the mayor, different folks. I like the mayor, but I disagree with her. I love my mother and father, but I disagree with them. You have the right to disagree. That don't have nothing to do with like or dislike. I see it from a different perspective. And we have men and women who are ready to risk their lives. They done did 30, 40, 50 years, now they want to give back. But we can't get the resources. We can't get the help. And everybody in this city is hurting. The truancy rate is 40% in our community. 4 out of 10 kids are not going to school. They're afraid to leave the house. They're afraid to go across the street. They're afraid to go to school. Folk, we all have to be together. It takes all of us to make this happen. In wrapping up, I just want to say that my wife and I have been working with my group called the Inner Voices. The experiences I went through in solitary and insane asylum, getting them shock treatments, getting all kinds of medications, got me ready for you. I am glad to be alive. I'm happy. And I can't dance, but I'm trying. And it makes me feel good when I can see people who got the same spirit. I can feel your spirit in the room. In that group, the Inner Voices, if you learn how to clean your inner self out. When they put me in solitary, there was nowhere to turn, no newspapers, no magazines, no radio. The lights stayed off all day long. I was in total darkness. And you don't know if you went to sleep for 1 hour or 10 hours. You lose all sense of time. You don't know if for 1 minute, 5 minutes, or you don't know how long it lasts. But it didn't make no difference. I got in touch with my inner voice. And if you get in touch with that voice, you can do and be. I didn't have a high school diploma. I went to college in Lawton. I never saw a play until I wrote one and had no idea what it's about. When you go through a traumatic experience, that is a blessing in disguise. You can flip the script. You can turn it over. I could have gave up and I wanted to commit suicide, and I tried 3 times. But I didn't have nothing to work with. All I had on was a pair of underwear and socks. And that wasn't strong enough to hang myself. So, but that experience taught me that in every negative experience, there's a plus. You can take that storm and make the sun shine. And Inner Voices is about taking that storm and making the sun shine. And you can make it. And we got men and women who are ready to go into these communities. Some of you are afraid to come out your house, afraid to go to the gas station. We can stop it if we work together. We can stop it. This is our home. This is our city. We can make it safe. And you got soldiers who can do it. So it's an honor, and I want to say thanks to Kenny Barnes. Boy, this Kenny, he just lost his sight. And he's working harder now than it was when he had his sight. He's been calling meetings, coordinating people to see what can we do to stop the killings, to stop the carjackings, and we can stop it. We told the mayor she put $30 million in this fight crime in the city. If you got a car and had 4 tires flat, and you put air in 1, 2, 3 tires, but the fourth time don't have no heir. This is the returning citizens community. We can do things that nobody else can do. We can reach them youngsters. These youngsters is doing this foolishness. Their fathers, their uncles, and grandfathers were in prison. We know them. We can reach them. We can bring people back there to get them. Folks, our city is under siege all over the country. And we know what to do. We know how to do it, but we don't have the support and the resource. To the gentleman from the Washington Redskins, I met with Jason Wright at the Chili Bowl with Miss Ali. We do a radio show every first Tuesday live from the historic Ben's Chili Bowl. We've been doing it for the last 3 years, and the show goes around the world. My wife and I have been volunteering. We do this show for 15 years and don't get paid a penny. We have to pay to volunteer. It don't make no difference. We got an opportunity with a platform to reach people. And our show now goes around the world. People call us from all over the country, all around the country, about criminal justice issues. And it's not about whether you're black, white, or you've been in jail or not. You're a human being. And what can I do to relate to another human being? And that's what we're talking about. If you get in touch with your inner voice, you can do and be. I got a job at a television station as a TV producer. I ain't know a damn thing about television, except how to cut it on and off. But I asked them, they hired me for 90 days. In 60 days, I learned how to work the whole entire television station. I had to be there at 9 o'clock. I was there at 7. And I go to everybody's office. Show me what you do. Show me how you make this work. And I learned how to run the entire television station, the technical part of it. We were nominated for 3 Emmys back in the 70s. They called it Academy Awards of Television. So we've done 5 or 7 films. We've been all over the country. We go to crazy. In fact, every time somebody invites us to speak, the Smithsonian Museum a few months ago did a big exhibit called Utopia about inmates in Lawton. And we went to the Smithsonian in 1971 and performed over there at the Incarceration Museum. They came back and reissued this exhibit called Utopia. Now it's being considered to be placed in the Afro-American Museum. So when they took us to the museum and showed us this exhibit, they had a big picture of me standing there, and I was scared. Folks, I was really scared. I said, I grew up, museums is for dinosaurs and dead people. I ain't neither one. What you got me in there for? So they've invited us to go around the country, and we speak at various museums connected with the Smithsonian. Our speech is, you can do, be anything you want to do. And that lady I mentioned earlier, Miss Sari Holstein, folks come to help us, and we don't even ask. We need help. We need help to save our city, but we need help to save these kids. And you don't have to take my word for it. My track record speaks for itself. For 52 years, I ain't been trying to get rich. I can have a pocket full of money and feel okay. But when somebody walk up to me and said, thanks for getting my son out of prison, that makes me feel good. That's how we get paid. When somebody say, thank you. And they're saying it because they don't want nothing from you. They're saying it because of what you did. So we meet every week on Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Saturday. We get as many groups as we can get together to say, what can you bring to the table? What can we do to stop some of this? And folks, this is a serious, serious time in this city. I'd like to suggest to the brother from the Commanders, I'm waiting on a meeting with Jason Wright. One of the things we wanted to do was get the Redskin players to adopt a school, to adopt a neighborhood, to adopt a community. And the players are stars. They are big figures in our community. And they ain't got to worry about getting shot or getting killed. When one of them stars come from the team, all the little kids, they love you. Y'all got impact, influence. You got impact. You can help. If the whole NFL, the NBA, the WNBA, they got together and the players adopt a school, adopt a neighborhood, adopt a community, you will see a change in this. I can go on and on and on. So I'm going to close out and say that it's not what you've done in life, it's what you've become. Merry Christmas.
I was wondering, first, if you could repeat the name of your play and if any inmates are currently acting it out and performing it.
Well, the play is called Christmas in Time. Now, the first wrote. Now it's called Holidays, Holidays. It's available on, in fact, we got 5 copies right here. We bought 5 copies of the DVD. It's being uploaded now. We got 2 more movies we did with about Richard Pryor. So it's 2 movies on Richard Pryor that we are integral parts of this movie. We did a couple of movies that won the New York Film Festival, International Film Festival. We won 5 Emmys. So, but that stuff don't matter. That don't save no lives. That's just showing what somebody's done. And what we try to do is do that. So we got films that, 5 films, we got 5 packets of films, of folders with a DVD of 2 stories. My life story is called Roach, a half-hour documentary, which won the Emmy. Everything we did won an award. But the awards don't matter to me. You do. Look, when I get a little kid say, Mr. Roach, can you give me 25 cents? I say, yeah, if you give me $5, I'll give you 25 cents. And then I ain't got $25. I give it to him anyway. But my thing is relating and connecting to people. And inner voices means get inside of that voice. If we all got in touch with that, that's like doing a house cleaning on yourself. When you go in the basement and clean the basement, go inside of you and clean out all the garbage, all the things that you don't like about you. You lied, you stole from people, you didn't tell the truth, you wasn't fair with people. When you learn how to look at you inside of that mirror, baby, it'll make your hair grow.
What's the organization to contribute to? You said you want contributions. To who?
We got all, it's called New Beginnings because we're dealing with a tax problem with inner voices. A wife can give you all the information. It's called Your New Beginnings. Oh yeah, we operated 2 domestic violence safe houses for 13 years in Washington. We just got rid of it when the COVID hit. So we saw an article in the paper about women being abused. We called the chief judge and said we can do something about it. We went in and met with the chief judge and he gave us a grant to provide safe housing for women, victims of domestic violence. We did it for 12 years, over 1,500 women and kids, 500 kids participated in our program. Then the funds ran out. And whatever we see as a problem, because I've been in institutions, I work on more things that's not connected to prison. I just work on people's pain. If somebody's hurting and we can do something, that's all we want. So my wife would be glad to talk to you, sir. Whatever you can do to help, please do.
Okay, my name is Thaddeus Hotridge, and I've spent over 30 years of my life in prison. I just was recently released. And my mind is blown from the things that I've heard with this organization and this program that you have going on. And I look forward to connecting with you guys and doing my part and contributing to the community. Mr. Brown, you are an inspiration to me. And I'd like to follow your footsteps someday.
Hi, Mr. Roach. My name is Donnie Shaw. I've been an attorney at law, I like to say, but it's not true.
You're a lawyer, ain't you?
It's not true. It just sounds good.
I know.
Yeah, really. So I'm from Woodland, believe it or not. And those of us that know Woodland, it's very colorful, but it made me who I am. It gave me the grit that you don't see, but it's in me. So we're going to work with you. Our current president, she's about the children, and we're going to keep that going. Our previous president, past President Marilyn Cruz, she's about the children. We're going to keep that going because if we get them early, we can save lives. We can turn them into folks like you.
You know, thank you.
And we may need your help to leverage Stanton Elementary because I'm trying to get that email answered.
You know, we got a group of people right now on Minnesota Avenue in Eli Place. There's an elementary school called Kimball, and up the street is called Sousa. We got 12 to 15 men every Monday and Friday on the corners. We don't have the funds to put them in hoodies and protect them out in the cold, but they escorting kids and their families back and forth to the school. We don't need the money. If we see a problem, we go ahead and do it, then try to find the money. Deal with the problem first. And if you can get the funds, fine. But we got a group The Alliance of Concerned Men, One Flag, and 4 or 5 organizations. And every Monday and Friday, they standing on the corner with these orange sweatshirts, making sure the kids get back and forth to school. With the help of the Rotaries, the Rotarians, we need your help. You can play a big role in solving some of this crime. We can reduce the carjackings. We can do some of the retail thefts. We can do a lot of that if we can coordinate it. And we got guys who are not afraid to go in them neighborhoods. But like I said before, a guy come from Northwest, got to go to Southeast, and it costs $6, $7 to ride the subway. And he don't know how much it's gonna cost, because when you get on the subway, there's not one fare like in New York, $1 or $2. You can ride all over the city. You can't do that in DC. You get on the subway, and based on where you get off at, depends on how much you charge. And you don't know what the charge is until you put your card in. And these guys don't have no money. And they want to come work with us. So we got to find ways to get our workers to the site to help us do what's needed to be done. And nobody in there should be afraid to come out your house, to go to the car wash, to go to the gas station. We got people that can stop it, that can do it, but they don't have the resources. We got horses, we got the resources, but we don't have the horses.
Oh, is there another question? All right, one more question. Dr. Sam Hancock. Please stay here, please.
We were talking earlier. One time I had 13 prisons, the federal pen, 23 jails, 2 women's facilities. And what he's saying is that there's real talent within those walls, real talent. These are very smart people in many cases. They're highly motivated, and they want to get out and they want to do good. So looking at the community and working with Kenny, Kenny and I were going over to Stanton Elementary, and Donnie and others years ago, 20 years at least. So how can we involve the Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, the other major organizations like the commander sitting here? How do we get so we have a coalition of people that are sitting in the same room and hearing the same story? Because I think that's where the disconnect is getting everybody to sit down together and say, okay, we're the retail merchants, we're the Chamber of Commerce, we need help. And they really need help, and the police really need help. So how do we do that, Roach? Tell us.
Kenny Barnes and Kamal Ali.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Kenny Barnes and Kamal Ali, who is Miss Virginia Ali's of the Chili Bowl's son. We've been meeting. We met with the chief of police like 2 months ago, saying that we're going to use all the contacts that we got in this community. And if we can have people from the Rotary Club, the Chamber of Commerce, UDC, I don't care what organization, the National Association of Religious Organizations, all of them come together. People, it's our life. It's our city. It's our community. And we all have to get involved. This is not one of them kind of things where you can say, let them handle it, and I'll get to it later. We can stop it if we mobilize, utilize, and strategize all the resources we got. They're spending 40 to 50 billion. They just sent $50 billion to Ukraine. Another 30 billion went to Israel. New York City spent $1,000 a day to pay migrants or give them a gift card, $1,000 gift card a month. We got people on the streets here in Washington don't get a penny. You're supposed to take care of those at home first. And we got folks on the streets, laying on the streets. They may look dirty and funky and stinky, but some of them are brilliant. Some of them just need a little hand, and you never can tell. I'm standing here now with a bow tie and a suit. There's been times when I didn't have nothing on. You never know when you can hit a low blow. You never know when your time comes, you're at the bottom of the deck, and you need somebody to say, hey, reach out to you. I don't want a handout. Give me a hand.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you, please. Mr. Brown, thank you for speaking, and you are a legend. And I remember you being at the Sugar Ray Leonard boxing gym when I used to train over there back in the day, and that was a long time ago. So yeah, that was years ago. But for every speaker, we plant a tree in your honor. And so now you will have a tree, Roach Brown will have a tree planted in your honor here in Washington, D.C., and you can find
You gonna give me a tree?
Yes. And you can find the coordinates of your tree if you follow those directions there. And here's a beautiful pen to go with it. And once again, thank you for all that you do. And I've admired you for years. When